Morning run. Let's go.
Have you ever wondered why? Why every year millions of people make New Year's resolutions just to fail within the first few weeks? Welcome to my channel, guys. My name is Frank Cusimano. I am a doctor of nutrition and metabolic biology, and you can say I am somewhat of a true nerd at heart. Today, it is the end of January, and one of my goals or New Year's resolutions was to start to upload nutritional YouTube videos at least once a week. And if you look back on my channel, as you can see, I failed at that. So in an effort to fix this lapse and get started on my YouTube 2020 goals, let's take a deep dive into the science behind motivation and how we together can get back on track for our goals and successfully complete our resolutions for 2020. So I used to have this belief, a belief that somehow setting a New Year's resolution was somehow a waste of time. A belief where I thought setting a goal or resolution was contradictory to living life to its fullest. Now, when you think of goals or resolutions, most people fail them because of motivation, and that's kind of where I want to spend the majority of this video. But there are several concrete ways that people fail a goal or a resolution, and that has to do with how the goal is formed. Now, there's 5 different reasons why people fail a goal or a resolution, and that has to do with the design of the goal. Typically, they will make a goal that isn't obtainable, that it's rarely achievable, and that it's just way far out there. Another time, they set goals that they don't even care about. It's hard to stay motivated about a goal that you don't actually care about. Sometimes people set goals that poorly formed, and they don't actually know what the concrete mission of the goal is. And then the last 2 have to do with the connotation of the goal. And typically people set goals that are degrading or that are put in the negative. And both of those need to be flipped to be a goal that's in the positive, as opposed to saying, I want to eat healthier, which implies you're not eating healthy. It's easier to set a goal like, I want to eat less unhealthy food, because that's a concrete way to say when you're going out to dinner or when you're going to a restaurant, you could say, I want to not order these items, as opposed to just saying, I want to eat a blanket statement of eating healthier. So I do have work now. I'm going to go into work, and later we're going to talk about motivation and kind of some of the theories about motivation. Done with work, so let's keep diving into this. So one of the common oppositions that I hear to this is that short-term goals typically just are focused on results, and instead we should focus on long-term outcomes. And while yes, I agree that long-term outcomes are probably more reasonable, one thing that we have to remember is that both short and long-term goals require motivation. Without motivation, no one actually will end up sticking to a goal. Now, by definition, motivation is the general desire or willingness of someone to do something. And while yes, this is a good textbook definition, I like to flip it and turn this into a definition of something that is more pointed towards doing. Instead, I like to say that motivation is the process whereby goal-directed activities are instigated and sustained. So the value in completing the goal is not only in setting the goal, but finding long-term, sustainable, internally driven motivation. So like any scientist, I did my homework and ended up looking up science research on motivational theories. And I came across this paper titled Motivation to Learn, an overview of contemporary theories by Dr. Cook and Dr. Artino. Now, this paper was in relation to education, but I think it fits perfectly when we're talking about our goals or resolutions for the year. You see, there are 5 contemporary theories of motivation. You have the expectation, value theory, you have the attribution theory, you have the social cognitive theory, you have the goal-oriented theory, and you have the self-determination theory. Now, motivation is a process, and motivation is focused on a goal. It deals with both the initiation and the continuation of activities that are directed at completing that goal. Now, rather than go through all 5 theories, I want to focus on just one and see if we can't use that to our advantage when trying to complete our goal for 2020. So I want to focus on the self-determination theory. And what we're going to do is we're going to kind of cover it and go through how we can use that to our advantage. Now, there are those 4 other theories, so if throughout the year I ever find like I'm failing at some of my goals or I'm failing to meet the criteria that I wanted to hit, then maybe I'll make a future video about one of the other theories, or maybe hopefully we'll get through all 5 this year. That way we can stay motivated and make sure that we actually complete our New Year's resolution. So the self-determination theory states there are 3 types of motivation. There is the A motivation being no motivation or no intention. You have the extrinsic, and this we're actually going to break down later into 4 different types. And then you have intrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation being the gold standard, where the highest, healthiest, and most creative and productive achievements typically occur when we are motivated by an intrinsic interest in the task. So the reality is, for most of us, all of our goals lie in the realm of extrinsic motivation. So let's look at how we can use the principles of intrinsic motivation to improve our goals that we have extrinsic motivation from. Now, there are 3 psychosocial needs to foster intrinsic motivation. You have autonomy. Autonomy means that we have the ability to actually control our own actions. We have competence, meaning that we have the ability to actually complete the goal, and relatedness. Relatedness meaning our goals serve the value or make us closer to others. Now, if we look back above at the 4 levels of extrinsic motivation, we have external, doing something for an award or a punishment. Then we have introjected, meaning we do something to avoid guilt. And then we have identified being doing something because you think it's useful or it has important value. And then the last one being integrated. Integrated meaning that you internalize this as a part of your identity, or it falls into your aspirations. These 3 obviously relate to the amount where we stand on the spectrum of an extrinsic motivation. Whether we're just trying to do something for an award, we're trying to avoid guilt, we do it because we think it has value, or we're doing it because it's something that we aspire to do and something that we internally see as a part of our identity. So how can we use these to actually complete our goals, or in my case, to make nutritional videos throughout 2020? Well, we have to take our goals and try to find that internal motivation. We have to find those 3 components, those psychosocial factors that help us complete our goals. We need to find out and make sure that it's a goal that we truly care about. Make sure it's a goal that we know we are in control of. Make sure it's one that we're confident that we can actually achieve. And then also make sure it's a goal that helps us relate to other people and help us feel like we're related to everyone. Goals that fit these psychosocial factors really do foster that intrinsic motivation and help us get on the way to achieving our goals and our resolutions in 2020.